Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Nancy's Cottage Designs. I am Nancy. I'm back. It's been a long time since I did a video, beginning of this year, January, February. I've had some health issues. I found out I have arthritis in my left knee. I had a couple cortisone shots. It's not bad. Some days when I'm up doing a lot and stuff like that, then it gets, it bothers me. So that's just kind of, I have to go see the doctor, I don't know, a few more months again. And then if the cortisone isn't working, then we'll try something else. So I just wanted to let you know that yes, I am still here, but it's been a long, hot summer in Minnesota. So finally getting back on track. I have some news, so I have been busy, but I'm wanting to get back to you guys and do some more videos. So I've got some good news. I'm going to explain that, excuse me, in the craft room. And yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on, so I'm excited. I'm kind of nervous. I'll let you know in there. We'll talk about it. So this is what we're going to make today. We're going to make this cute little pumpkin gnome. His body is made with a metal base, and the hat is metal, and it is from an Easter bunny gnome that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I bought a few of them, and then some of them I got rid of, wish I wouldn't have. But I'm going to do it without the metal base, and it's still going to look pretty similar. And I'll tell you how I did these leaves in there, but I'm going to give you an easier way because I cut these out with my Cuttlebug die cut machine. So it took me a little bit. The ones I did today I cut out by hand, and I'm going to show you what I did to the edges. It looks really cool. I think it just adds to the look of it. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do him and make him oval looking instead of kind of round like my other ones normally are. And then I have a sunflower one that I'll do a video on that one too. So thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you to all the people who keep subscribing and there's no videos coming up. You guys are awesome. Thank you for sticking with me, for being loyal. I appreciate it and love you guys from the bottom of my heart. If you have subscribed, thank you very much for supporting me in my channel. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button below and you will be notified. I'm not sure if that comes up anymore, but you will be notified if you have that choice, if you have your settings turned on in your phone for notifications of when I upload new videos. So I'm going to try to do some weekly ones. This is Labor Day weekend, so I've had hours today to get this done, and it's taken me probably like 4 or 5 hours because I've been messing around with other stuff. But anyway, let's get into the craft room and we're going to make this cute little guy. I love you guys. I'll see you in the craft room. So we are going to make this little cute pumpkin gnome, and you should be able to see him right there. I'm going to go over everything you need. You're going to need stuffing. You're going to need some rice or whatever you want to use to weight it down. I use for the inside of his arms, I use like some quilt batting, but you can use whatever scrap you have if you don't want to, but we'll go over that when we make the arms. You're going to need some faux fur for his beard. And for what I have on his shoes and his arms and stuff, I made up, I take ribbon and either some of this crochet thread, some embroidery thread, ribbon, and I just make, I put a bunch of it together and I make one little, just a whole bunch of it together, and I use that as my bows and stuff like that. So I will kind of show you. And then you're going to need, oops, stuff rolling away. You're going to need a big sock because we need it really stretchy. And these I got from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to put the rice in there. We're going to do a base for the bottom to make it oval. And you can either use, I saved these from the back of my notepads or chipboard. If you use cardboard, it might be okay. It's just that if you bend it, it just like breaks. It just, yeah, you can tell With this, it's very stiff. Or you could just take like cereal boxes and cut it out and glue them together so you have a nice firm base. I'm not going to go over any sizes because it's going to really depend on how you make yours. But when I get to this, I will let you know how big it is. And everything, if I don't leave it in the description box, you might have to go back to the video because I will say what the sizes are. You're going to need something for his nose. And I get this Jet Set Nude fabric at Joann Fabrics. It's a Jet Set Nude is what it's called. And so you're going to need some of that. Otherwise, for his nose, you could use a wooden ball. You could use a half bead. You could use these felted balls, which come on the garlands at a lot of the holiday times. I've seen them at Valentine's Day, Christmas, and I will buy them when they're on clearance and save them. And then you can take some blush and put blush over it. If it looks a little hairy, just trim it off. You're going to need pipe cleaners for the hat because we're going to make it bendable, and his arms. You're going to need thread, strong thread or string, not thread, string for his nose and when we tie off his body. Flowers just for decoration. Some wooden beads for his hands. And the body, the outer body is 15 by 15 and you cut 1. And this is not a really bright orange. I got it from Joann's. The arms are 2.5 inches by 6.5 inches. And when you cut it on the stretch, because this is going to be his wrist. This part needs to stretch. It will make it easier on you. Hat, 15 by 15. And then you're going to need, I use this like dark orange felt for his shoes. And I'm going to show you how his feet, I'm going to show you how I made his feet. I did them a little differently than this one, so they're a little bit easier. And I think that's all I have. And then for the leaves, you're going to need some felt. And on this one, I did a dark green and then the olive green. So let me show you how we're going to do that first, and we can get that out of the way. Okay, so what I did was I took my felt and I cut it into rows like this, and these are about 2 inches wide. So it's going to depend on how big or small you make your leaves to how many you're going to need. I did like a maple leaf, and this was from my Cuttlebug die cut machine. So I cut them out in 2 different colors. You can do one color, you can do whatever color you want for your leaves. If you don't want to do the leaves, if you want to do a few at the top, that's totally up to you. So you're going to take, and I'm going to find a smaller scissor, and you're just going to cut these into pieces. And like I said, it depends on how big you want your leaves. So what I do is I fold it in half, and then I start at an angle, so I'm just like that. Let me see if you can see that. How close we are. Yep, okay. I'm not a professional filmer, so I cut it at an angle, and then I start cutting it like that. And if your tip is not a tip, if it's not pointy, then just take and fold it in half and cut it again. But for me, if I made this too wide, if I just went like this, that doesn't look much like a leaf compared to this. I mean, this is going to get covered up a little bit, but I think when this is narrower, it's more of a leaf. And if you cut it like that, you can fold it back in half and just angle it in a little bit more. And then what I did, and let me see if I can show you up close. I took the edges of my leaf, and you can see this one right here. I gotta get this one. You can see how it looks different than the one on the left. That's because I used a lighter on it to get, it kind of melts it. So to get that kind of rustic look, if you call it. So what I did was I took, and it helps if you can hang on to it with like a needle nose pliers. And then get yourself some lighters, and I use my lighters on the ends of my ribbon to melt my ribbon so that my ribbons don't fray. You will thank me for that. So I get my lighter and I start on one side and I go around. I probably will go around a couple times. So if you just do the edges, you're not going to get that. You can see the difference. This one has got more of it. This one hasn't got as much. To get this one to look like this one, what you want to do is put the side that you were burning down, facing down, and you're going to take your lighter and you're going to go underneath that edge, and you're going to do it kind of quickly, and then you can check and see. You don't want to do it too much because it'll really melt it, and then you'll just have it look like it'll get hard. So that's how I do it. And I don't do the whole inside of the leaf. I don't want that all over. I just want it on the edges. So if I show you his hat, his leaves, you can kind of see them. See the green right here? Oops. Right there. It just gives it a more rustic look. I really like it. Okay, so that's how I make my leaves. You can use artificial leaves from your flowers if you want. You can do that too. Okay, so we're going to start with his body. And you're going to get your oval shape, your rice, some stuffing, and you're going to cut. My oval shape is 3 inches wide by 4 inches, so it's not a circle. Then you're going to take and you're going to turn your sock. I'm going to probably back you up a little bit, because then you're going to take your cardboard, and I hang on to it with my sock, and you're going to put glue. I have a new glue gun, and I like it, but it doesn't seem like it squirts out enough, but I like the tip. I burnt my finger on it I tried this last week, and I really burnt my finger so bad that I couldn't even continue, and then when I looked at the gnome, I didn't like it. So you're going to take and find the middle of your sock and put it in the middle, and then you want to hurry up before anything starts drying and grab this and put that in. Try not to bend your cardboard, and pull that extra sock so that you can get it smooth on the bottom. It doesn't, I mean, it's got to be at least a couple thicknesses of a cardboard. If it's too flimsy, it's just going to bend when you go to put it in. Then we're going to dump some rice. So that oval shape on the bottom is going to give us that oval shape to his body. I'm going to put a little bit more. I have tried the poly pellets, and I still have some, and I don't like them. They are not heavy enough for me to weigh down my gnomes. So that's why I use the rice. I have never had bugs, because I have cut my gnomes open that I've made like probably 6 years ago, and there was no bugs. So now we're going to stuff this. And the last one, when I tried to make it last week, I made his body too big. I don't want it huge. I want it to look nice like this, but smaller. If you want a huge one, then you're just going to stuff it and make it bigger. And then I want to stuff it so it's like we're going up to a neck and a head, We might end up taking some out. We might end up having to put it in. So we're going to do that, and we're going to have to stuff his hat. Okay, I think he needs to be bigger. He doesn't have that oval. And I'm kind of pushing it down and pushing it out toward the sides so that we can get that oval shape for his body. So just kind of take your time with this and make sure it looks like you want it to. And I think I'm going to try to get some on the sides down there. Because I want that oval look. I don't want him to look huge though like my last one. So I'm taking my fingers and just pushing it down. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little bit in for a neck and a head. If it's not going to be, it's going to hold his hat. So, okay, no, I'm just going to cut some of that off. I'm going to throw it away because I'm never going to use that. Now you're going to take the body fabric. And you want the right side down, so this is the wrong side. And then you're going to get your string really strong if you have to double it. And then I always have his face is usually the heel, and I have the points in the front and the back, and then, or the corners of the piece on the sides. So front and back, and then I grab all those corners, and then I grab the rest and try to get it in there. And then I'm going to get this down. I don't want it up too far. And so I wrapped it around, and I'm going to bring it to the back, and then I'm going to pull it. And just make sure before you tie it off you have all your ends in there. And I'm not going to knot it yet. I'm just looping it over the two ends together, and then I'm pulling it, and now I'm going to knot it. So I'm going to cut this off. You can save this and use this for like your arms or tying off other things in your crafts. I've used them on my gnome arms, on their wrists. You can put it with some other color of ribbon or threads or embroidery floss. And now you're going to take and you're going to pull up these gathers and distribute them, and make sure that you get, so there's not really any big bulky gathers. So make it look nice. And then we're going to cut off the rest to make sure I have my sharp scissors. And then you can save this, and you could probably use this for your arms, because your arms don't have to be but probably 2.5 inches wide is what it was by 6. So this is plenty big. It just has to be on the stretch. I'll throw that in my scrap pile. So here's his face. And just make sure you have all your ends pulled up. And now we're going to do his nose. And I'll leave a video below. I think I always do it in my videos anyway. And get your thread, your string. And then what I do is I grab some. I take and then I cut my hand like this, and I put my piece of fabric. You cut probably like about a 7 by 6 inch or 7 by 7 piece. And then I start stuffing it in where my finger and my thumb is, and start hanging on to it and closing. And I like a big nose. I like it an oval. I don't like it round. And I always switch hands because I'm wanting to poke it in there and make sure I still have everything. Make sure you have all your ends. Grab it. Take your thread and just hang it over. You're going to take one end and wrap it around, and then grab both and pull it tight, and then grab one of the ends and wrap it around like 3 times and pull it again, and that locks it so you can let it sit. If you had something you had to go do and you couldn't tie it, then you'll be able to let it sit there. Don't cut off your ends, because we're going to use this to tie around his neck. So then, instead of cutting it really short and gluing it and having the possibility of that nose coming undone, this will be better. So now what we're going to do, don't cut that off, is I'm going to take, so if this is the top and the bottom of his nose, I'm going to take and start pulling it there first so I can get that oval shape, and then I kind of go to the sides. So this is where you want to take your time. I got like a pucker there and I don't want it, because you don't want a nose that looks like a child did it. I hate to say it, but I've seen some gnome noses on Pinterest and stuff like that, and it's like, so take your time, and then when you get it the way you want it, take this thread and hang it over the end right there, over the nose, and then I grab the rest between my fingers and I cut about 1/4 inch away from the end of that thread. Okay, so now we're going to tie his nose on, and I kind of get the knot on the bottom. And just don't pull it too hard, because you might end up, I think I'm going to cut a little bit more of that off. You might end up pulling his nose out. So center it in the middle of his head, and I take my thread, I wrap it around, and then I bring it around the front and then back to the back. Okay, when you get this first, okay, let's start over. So we're going to wrap it around. We got our 2 ends, and then you're going to wrap it around the back, and you're just going to cross it over and then bring it around. But when you first, before you bring it around the front, tighten it, and then make sure his nose is straight. And if you have to move it, be careful. Don't pull it, because you pull it all undone and you'll have to do it all over again. Then I take, I'm going to cut some of this off. Then I take and I wrap this around like 3 times. I think it's called a surgeon's knot. And then I do a couple of regular knots. And then cut that, leave a little bit, don't cut it right up to the knot. And there we have his body. Now we're going to do his arms and his hands. So you're going to need some pipe cleaners. I take 3 pipe cleaners and twist them together all the way down. And this is going to be the inside of his arms, so his arms are bendable. So you're going to do that, and then you can cut it to the length you need it. And I have one here already. So I've cut it. And I'm going to show you how I did his sleeve. So I have his one done. And then I just take a little bit of glue and put it inside the hole. You don't want the glue to come out the other side. And just put that in a little bit and let that dry. And then you're just going to take a piece of the batting. You don't need very much, just to give it some thickness to the arm, and just run a bead of glue along the edge of the batting. Put the arm down, and it doesn't have to come all the way down. You can leave it above the bead, and then roll it, and I hold it and then put some glue right underneath there, and then roll it over and press it, and then cut that excess off. And then we're going to put this in his arm. So I sewed his arm all the way down. You can hot glue it if you want. If you're going to hot glue it, you're going to put a bead of glue on this right side. Press those together, press them, and let it dry very, very thoroughly. So we're going to put this in his arm, and I'm going to cut the end of this wire off. And I get my wire cutters at Hobby Lobby. They will cut through this fleece or this batting just like that. And they're probably a little over $20. I've had mine for a couple of years. So we're going to put that in the arm, and then to glue this down, I flip this down and I have it just so I can see that pipe cleaner in there. And I'm going to put it on the bead. You can put it on the wrist, the sleeve there. And then just flip that up. And then we have his two arms. So I'm going to cut this one shorter, so they're the same. And then I take and put a little bit of glue to close that up. And then we're going to see where we want his arms. So right about there, I put the seam going down on the back. So right about there. And just put some glue right near the top where that opening of the sleeve, so put it right there. And then place it where you want it. And then do your other one and make sure that they're even. You can always glue the arm down more later. I gotta look and see if I think it needs to go up a little bit more. Okay. And what's nice about the way we gather and make the body, it looks like the sections of the pumpkin. And then for his hat, let me take a break. I gotta twist the pipe cleaners together. Oh, I'll actually use these ones I already twisted. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, so what we're gonna do, and I have the hat already sewed, if I can find it. And I made it really big, but then I realized I didn't have to. So it's gonna depend how it's gonna fit around here. So if you weren't sure, take your fabric, because I like to cover the nose, so it's gonna come down over the nose, but then it has to meet in the back. And this one wouldn't be big enough, because it would just barely be big enough, even though it stretches. That's why you want to do this on the stretch also. So I have already sewed this. I sew it at an angle. Leave yourself at least a 1/2 inch seam allowance, because we are going to take, and in between this seam, we're going to glue the pipe cleaner. Yeah, this glue gun, I like it because of the tip, but it doesn't seem like it puts out enough glue. And so I don't start right at the very, very tip of the hat, just maybe a 1/2 inch down. So tuck that in, and you can cut some of this off because it's only going to need to go down to the back of his head. So the pipe cleaner, I used about 8 inches. And then just make sure you get that glued, and then go on top of the pipe cleaner and put some glue so we can encase it in the seam. Just like that. And then we're going to let that dry, because we don't want to try to turn it right side out right now. Okay, his feet. We have to do his feet. So how I made his feet was I took 2 pieces of this, like a dark rusty color orange, and I sewed them totally together. No seam, turn it inside out. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. You're going to cut these corners off, and you can make yourself a pattern. I'm not going to do a pattern. All it is this oval piece. So it's going to depend how big your gnome is to how big your shoe is going to be. I have it bigger at the toe, and then I taper it down in the back. You guys can draw this, okay? If you make it too big, then you go back and you sew it again. If you don't want feet, then that's fine. So the way we're going to get this turned right side out, because these are going to get glued on the front here like this. These I did differently. You're going to pull this apart, and you're going to find you're going to cut it more down toward the heel, but not really close, kind of about 2/3. And you're going to pull so you can cut a little slit, and then just cut it down a little bit more so you can turn it right side out. Because this is going to get glued to his body, so it's not going to matter that we cut it. It's just an easy way to do feet. And I get the hemostats, and I put my piece that I want to turn right side out in there and squeeze it and pull it. And then turn the rest of it right side out. And then you can even take the hemostats and the tip of them and go very carefully around the edge of the seam and kind of get that all poked out. So there's our foot. So now what you're going to do is take a little bit of stuffing, and the hemostats are nice for this. I've been using these a lot more. And you're going to just stuff that foot a little bit, so it helps that you have these. You can just shove in that stuffing. And I haven't even talked about my what I'm excited and nervous about is I am finally, it's not going to be Etsy, I am finally going to have a website where I'm going to be able to sell my crafts that I make. And it's not going to be just gnomes. And the site that I am using for my e-commerce is Ecwid, E-C-W-I-D. Etsy, way too hard. I had been trying to learn that for probably 5 months. And it's like, I can't do this. There's way too much. So then we have our foot like that. So then what I did, just to close up that piece, was I just took, instead of trying to glue it, I mean, I want to cover it. Nobody's going to see it. I mean, this is not going to look good, but like I said, nobody's going to see it. So I just put a little bit of glue on the outside and the inside of where we cut it. Take a scrap piece of felt and put that down. Like I said, nobody's going to see this. You don't even have to tell anybody you did it. It just closes that up and then gives us something to glue the shoe, the foot, to the body. So nobody's going to see it. So we're going to glue it right like that. Okay, so let's do his hat. We can turn this right side out because we got all those leaves I got to do, and I'm probably at a half hour plus with my little intro. So take and turn this right side out. If you have to use a turning tool or something like that to get your hat, try not to poke it too much so you don't poke through your hat. And so that's going to make our hat bendable. And if my hat is too big, I can either cut this down or I can flip it wrong side out and sew it a little bit more. I usually cut it. And then we're going to see how this is going to fit on his head. We might have to take some stuffing out. We might not. I think I'm going to take some, and then we're going to stuff this a little bit because we need this hat to be stiff if we're going to put leaves on it. And you can stuff it if you kind of want to stuff that tip. I didn't go all the way up to the tip. And then when I get down so far where I think the top of his head is, I will, I'm just trying to enclose that rest of that pipe cleaner there. Then I will put it on his head and see where the stuffing sits, if it's spread out. Sometimes I will take and spread it out with my fingers inside the hat. And I'm not going to close that off quite yet. So I always like my hat to come over my nose. So I think that looks good. And if we glue it in the back, if we need to stuff more up here after we get the back glued, we can do that. Okay, so let's tie this off. And I'm just going to use some of my leftover thread from earlier. And then just wrap that around and pull it tight so that we can tie this off. And if you hear any noise, it's probably my husband coming home, working on a car. So yes, so I'm going to have my own website. I'm hoping to get it opened within a week or two. I'm hoping within a week. I will have, if I get it done, I will have below the video where you can go and you can sign up for my email so that you can get the first email I send out to you if you subscribe to my email list for my website. You will get a coupon code, and then by signing up for the email list, you will get notified when I have sales, when I have a new product, promotional discount codes you will be able to get. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of that off. So I will hopefully try to leave that in the video, in the description box. I have a little bit to finish on my for my landing page for you guys to go if you wanted to register and sign up for my email list for my website. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to flip this up in the back, and you're going to make sure the seam is centered with the back of the nose. And I flip it up and I put my glue on the hat because I won't want to put it on the body, because if I don't get my hat right down at that spot, it's not going to be good. So then be very careful and then just fold that down and make sure you don't have any glue seeping out, and then press it. And then I think we're going to add probably some stuffing up here. Because we want it to be, we don't want it to be floppy, but I don't want it to be so stuffed that his hat looks really big. So, so yeah, I would make sure that you have his hat just the way you want it. And like I said, I like it pulled over the nose. And I think I'm going to try and stuff some right here. And you got to make sure you get the stuffing up so it's not sticking out the hat. And I'm going to even try by his nose. The one I was looking on Dollar Tree to see if they still had, it was a metal base. It was a Easter Bunny gnome. the body was metal based, the hat, and I took it apart, and I don't think I have one to even show you because I got rid of some of them. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit out right there. So when you have this the way you want it, then glue this down, and I flip it up by the nose, and then I'm going to put it on the nose here just a little bit to start, and then you can go underneath where that string is on the nose and put some glue there, and then make sure you have, oh, I forgot his beard. Now I'm going to have that glue is going to dry, and my husband hates when I do that. He's like, what? Yeah, he hates when I make that sound. I could find the cat's toy that we've been looked at. It's been lost forever. And what? Did you hurt yourself? No, I just found the cat's toy. So, and I'm going to cut this down because I don't want his beard. I think this is a little long. So you're just going to cut the fur backing. Not the fur itself, but just the backing. And then I get these nail brushes. You can get them at Walmart or whatever. I used to use a toothbrush. And I use those for my beards. I gotta cut this side down because I know it's too wide. So when you cut the backing, then you don't cut the fur. I mean, you will cut fur, but you don't cut it all the way through. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is make a little U shape here. This one doesn't matter if you're gonna cut all the way through because you're not cutting the bottom of the fur. You're not cutting down here. So then I'm going to put some glue underneath that U shape. And it's a good thing I caught this before I got too late. Otherwise, that would have been bad. You're going to tuck it right underneath that nose. And then we're going to have to try to pull this down, these little tabs. And pull that up. I don't want to burn myself again. And then tuck it right up alongside that nose. And then now we can do that. Now we got to tuck our stuffing up. Now I got to put more glue on here. I need a glue stick. So yeah, I'm going to have, on my website, I'm going to have gnomes. I am going to have some craft supplies. And I am really excited. I've been working on this for a month. And Equid is an awesome e-commerce site. If you are thinking of it, I would look into Equid. They do have a free plan. I upgraded mine. And they have tutorials. They have stuff you can read to learn about how to set up your site. It is nothing like Etsy. It's so much easier. Yes, I still have a few things to do. I have what my site looks like and everything like that. But I mean, I still have to worry about my SEO, your search engine optimization, and how you describe your things. So when people go looking for it on Google, that you come up in the Google search, and you have to learn all about that in your setting up your website. But yeah, I have come a long way in a month than I have in like 6 months with Etsy. And it was just, I just thought Etsy was way too hard. So now we're going to take, and we're going to glue his feet on. And try not to put too much glue. I think I got it. It's going to leak out the side. And I'm trying not to drop it or burn myself. And then you're going to see where you want that, get the beard out. And I like to angle them. See, I know I can see I got too much glue. So just start with a little bit of glue. And then if you want it really pressed, really firm, you're going to have to hold it there. And I'm going to try to do another one here while I hold this one. And get your beard out of the way. And then you're going to make sure you got them both in the same spot. or the same, yeah, so they're equal. This one needs a little bit more glue. So you're just gonna have to hold that there. What I've done, I mean, you could wrap rubber bands around this if you were gonna work on the hat so it would stay. So you could do that. I've done that with, if I had a nose I was gonna glue on. Okay, I'm back. I did not like the way his hat looked. It was too wide and too tall. And I will leave an insert of the video. So what I'm going to do is, I don't think I cared for this shape of leaf. I liked, I don't know what this is, but the maple leaf. So I liked the way these leaves looked better. So I actually was able to rip his hat off and make a new hat, and I'm just using artificial leaves. And these ones here came off of that bush, and I think I may have gotten it at a rummage sale. So it's, if the camera's going to focus, so those leaves. So I'm going to use those. They're a little bit smaller than the other ones, but I have a lot. So instead of taking all the flowers off, I just was able to cut the leaves off, because I almost probably 80% of the time just use the flower, or, you know, like the bud of it. I don't use the whole stem. Once in a while I do. So I started going around, and it's kind of like the other one. I'm just going to start gluing these on, and then when I get this first row done, I will just fast forward this. And if you get your leaves, and I'll show you in just a second, and they're like creased, like this one, like these ones, if you can see those, and I will make sure you can. So then when you do your, so I'm going to edit out that other part with the other video. So when you do the second row, I try to go between two leaves. So you're not stacking one leaf right on top of the other. And if you do, just make sure that you can still kind of see that leaf underneath. So you're just going to go around, and you're just going to work your way up. As you can see on this one, I went all the way up to the top of the hat, pretty close. Probably a couple inches away. Because it was a lot of work to cut all these ones out of my Cuttlebug. I had a string or something there. So this is what you're going to do, is just keep working your way around. Kind of like when you see like a shingled roof or bricks, is kind of staggered. Same with like a flower, like petals, so that you can see the petal underneath it. And you can go up if you want to go all the way to the top of the hat, if you just want to do leaves at the top of the hat, however you want to do it. And you can look at the Dollar Tree and see what kind of leaves are on the flowers. I like the one, I don't like the plasticky, I like these ones that are more of a cloth. And you could, and I think I got that one backwards, maybe not. You can, if you wanted to, and maybe I will try, is to burn these leaves, really do the edges really lightly like we did the felt ones. Okay, so I'm just going to stop talking, and then I'm going to just keep going around, and I'll just fast forward this. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. And I'm going to get rid of these other leaves. So if you want to cut your leaves out of felt, like I showed you earlier, and I didn't like that, I'll insert a picture of the gnome if I can. I didn't take a picture of it, but I'll have to do it from the video. On how he looked, because I just didn't like it. And his hat was too tall. So I like that one better. I think I might go down here and add some more. So I think I'm going to do that and take a little break, and then I will be right back. I am back. So I went down in the back a little bit. If you can find leaves that are two different colors like this, I like that. But I like this one better than the other one I had started the video with. I did find some of this beaded trim, and how I attached it to the hat was I took some of my crochet thread, and you can't really see it because I want it to be the same color, and I'm going to double it, and then I'm just going to use this to tie this off. And I think I'm going to wrap it maybe around a couple of times. Like I said, I got this at a rummage sale, so I have no idea. You'd have to look online for like beaded garland or something like that. So let me see if I can get this tied. And then I just tie it in a few knots. I do the surgeon's knot, which is about 3 loops, and then pull it. And then I do a regular knot. And you can just leave those, these hanging too. So I did that on the first one. And then I decorated over here with some other leaves and beads. So what I had, if I can find, so what I did, and I'm going to show you really quickly, I cut out these leaves out of felt, and I used the lighter on it. I will show you how I cut this one out. I'll get you a little closer. So this one to me is almost like a oak leaf. So I just started, let me take this away, you can probably see better. So I just started like I'm starting where the back of the leaf, and then I started curving, and then I just started moving my scissors and then try to get it to a point. So each leaf is going to be different, and then you can flip it over and then do the other side the same way. And then if we take our needle nose pliers and our lighter, and you go around kind of slow, not too fast, not too slow. So you got to kind of take a scrap piece and try it. And if you flip it over and you don't see enough that it's melted it, then you can do some more. And then I just did another leaf kind of the same way, a green one. So I'm going to use the lighter on this one. And you might want to do this outside if the fumes from the lighter are getting to you. And then I'm just going to hot glue this leaf right on the other one. And then I'm just going to glue this. I want it on the other side. So I'm going to put that, and I will probably sew this part down with some of my thread after. So I'll just take a needle and thread so it stays on there, because it'll come loose. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to glue it on the side. So I do 3 of these, and if you have some other fall artificial leaves, you can do that, but I kind of wanted to keep mine the same, kind of like the rust colors and stuff like that. Nothing like red or anything. And then if you wanted to, you could put some beads on there. What I think I'm going to do, and here's the ribbon that I made. I'm going to back you up a little bit. So I just took ribbon, embroidery floss, some of this crochet thread, and I try to pull the colors from my gnome that I'm going to make. So I'm going to probably double this, and I'm just going to make, I'm not going to make it, to me it's a bow. Some people would say that's not a bow, it's a knot, but it's a lot easier than making a regular bow. And I probably cut it too long, so I could probably get a couple of them out of here. And I'm just going to tie it in a knot and just make sure. Sometimes you got to pull all of your threads to get your knot tight. And then I'll cut that. And then I'm going to take and keep my threads out of the way, and then I'm going to melt the ends of my ribbon. And you don't have to get it very close. You can usually see it melting it, just so it doesn't fray. And then I'm just going to glue the back of this knot and glue it right in the center here. And what I also did, I made, if I can find them, I made some little signs for them, and I believe I got these at, I could have gotten them at Hobby Lobby or the Dollar Tree, I can't remember, but there's one that's a wood color and the other one is orange, so I hot glued them together. You have to work really fast. And then I took a skewer and found a place on the back, because it says Happy Fall. So I found a place I could put the skewer. So I put glue down, I let that sit, and then I tried to get some in here. I had to kind of wipe it off because you could see it through the front. And then you'll have to either use like a heat gun or a blow dryer to get rid of the glue strings in there. You might have to go in and pick them out. And so then he can hold that one. I made one for the other one, if I can find it. And I can't. But this is what I also made. I'm not going to make this. I'm just going to tell you how I did it. So let me move some stuff out of the way. So I took a cutting board from the Dollar Tree. They're bamboo cutting boards. And I first put hot glue down, and then I put Spanish moss. And then I had some pumpkins. I got this little guy at a rummage sale. I got some sticks from out in my yard. I had some fall leaves, some foliage, and I just glued that all around. I put some leaves here on top of the pumpkin with some Spanish moss. So I just did it on that part so he can sit over there. And if we wanted to do, so he was holding a sign, which I had one here somewhere. And then I made flowers. I like the sunflowers. I had one person, when I posted this on Facebook, said she didn't like it, but I liked it. And so we can do that one. But I will leave a picture, if I can, of the other one, the hat. I got the leaves all the way to the top. I just didn't care for how big and tall his hat was. This one I like better, but I like this one more. So, because this one I did, like I said, with a cuddle bug, and it's a die cut machine. I'm just going to put that down. The other sign. So you guys tell me which one you like more. If you like the original one I made, or if you like this one. If you really like this one and you want to know how I did the leaves, I can do a really quick video and show you how to use a cuddle bug, how to cut them out, It's the same way with melting around the edges. If you really want to see that, leave a comment below. I'm back. Thank you for joining me today. You let me know which one you like. And if you're curious to where I got this mushroom, I got it at Hobby Lobby. It's kind of soft and squishy. It's really pretty. And they're little bouquets of flowers. All I did was take some flowers, have some of a stem, and just wrap jute and tie a knot. That's all I did. So then they can hold on to it. I didn't hot glue anything. I might, because I'm going to sell a few at my craft fairs. But like I said, I'm going to try to get this video uploaded by tomorrow. If not today, if it's going to be today, it probably will be tonight, which is Monday, Labor Day. But leave a comment if you really want to know and see how I did these leaves on my first one. Let me know in the comments below. So let me know which one of the three. I will try to insert a picture of that second one I made in this video I didn't like. If you have any questions on anything, let me know. I will leave a supply list in the description box. There's going to be no patterns. So just go back and watch the video. I don't think I can do a half-hour video. But I've got another mini gnome, a mini gnome I'm going to make. And that one will not take very long. So that'll be a quick video. So if I have time today, maybe I'll film that one too. But if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, click that subscribe button. If you have subscribed, thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing and being a part of my crafting community. If you have, I already went over questions. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it done, is to have a link so you can sign up for my email list for my website. But I haven't uploaded. My website is not open yet for shopping or whatever. I'm still working on shipping and getting my email, my landing page and stuff like that, so you guys can sign up and then get discount codes. You're going to get a discount code when you sign up, 15% off your first order. And then you'll get emails for sales, other discount codes, that sort of thing. So that's why it's always a good time, always good to sign up. So I'm still, those are my two things, is shipping and my email list. So I'm excited about it. I'm kind of nervous, but what happens happens. If it doesn't go good, then at least I tried it. So, but I love you guys. Thank you for joining me. Sorry I have been gone for so long, and I went over that in the beginning of the video. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.